It turns out I exist, and I had some complications with the streamer. I guess YouTube updated things to where you have to preset the orientation that you want your stream to be in. So we're going vertical this time. Not that anyone is here to see it. Hopefully, now that I'm live, someone will actually come into the room and join. But I guess I'll just go ahead and lead with, it's been a long time, but welcome, one and all, to the Mostly Mazda Vidcast. I am your host, the one and only Lonely Josh. What's up, buddy? Octopus Car Door here on YouTube. Hope you're doing well. Glad you're here. I was just doing the intro, and I was expressing my frustration with YouTube not letting me know ahead of time that I needed to set the orientation to landscape. But we're in portrait mode tonight. We're changing it up a little bit and just having a good time. So I've got a few things that I want to talk about this time around. Just a couple, I've got notes this time. And I'm prepared, well prepared. It's been a hot minute since I've done one of these, so bear with me as I muddle through the awkwardness of being on camera in real time. So, a couple things I wanted to talk about. The classic 24 Hours of Daytona, the HSR, anyone who's familiar with sports car racing is familiar with HSR and their vintage endurance racing. And in a couple of weeks, they're going to have the classic 24 Hours of Daytona, which is pretty cool. Oh, I also want to, I'm getting all muddled up. So classic 24 Hours, I want to talk about the things that are coming for the Protege, things I have in plans, and then right at the end, we'll probably open it up for open discussion, questions, anything people want to do here at the end. So, yeah, I don't know why it's locked either, but as soon as I went to go live, it said, you've got to change that orientation in, you've got to change that in the settings. So, and here I am messing around with it in real time. So I'm just going to go ahead and lead off because somebody's going to watch this later, and hopefully they will have made it longer than 2 minutes and 55 seconds into the video. So in a couple weeks, the classic 24 Hours of Daytona, classic Mazda of Orlando, and Mazda of Lakeland here in Florida are putting together a car corral at that event for Mazda owners. So if anyone wants to come out there and see me, any of my Florida people, if it's any of the three of you currently watching, I will be at the Classic 24 at Daytona in a couple weeks doing the car corral thing. They're going to have parade laps, a special lunch on Saturday. The tickets are like $45 and it's like all access, which is pretty cool. I've never been to an HSR race, so I'm excited to go witness a little bit of vintage racing, which leads into my next little bit of discussion. I, of course, will be there. What's up, Ray? I'm going to, of course, be there with the Protege since it's my only Mazda now, and it's vintage as well, and a little bit of a race car in some ways or another. Eventually, I need to get this thing on a racetrack for real. So, but that's a story for another day. I also wanted to lead off, and I completely skipped over it, that since I came back and said that I wanted to, achieve 10K or more and just grow the channel a little bit more, people have come out in spades and really just, I just surpassed 9,000 subs, which is really cool. I'm well on the way to 2 million views as well. So whoever watches this later and whoever's watching it now, I want to thank you guys for being part of that. That's pretty cool. It's a small drop in the YouTube bucket as far as the more popular stuff, but actually making headway toward a goal is pretty solid. So 9,000 subs and counting. Never thought I'd get 5. So that's pretty cool. Going back to the classic 24-hour, it's cool, the whole Mazda element, because I just realized that I plugged the wrong cord in. Hang on. Sit tight, everybody. I'm sure the audio was fine, but I want it to be better. Is the audio any better? Did that change it? Did it screw it up? Somebody let me know. I plugged my charger in like an idiot. I'm falling apart at the seams tonight. But people on YouTube love to watch others fail and like to see people suffer. So you guys got to witness a little bit of my suffering just there. Somebody please tell me how the audio is. My voice sounds more voice now. That's good. You probably can hear less of my AC, my garage AC, in the background. All right, cutting back to the chase. It's going to be a cool event from a Mazda perspective, because local to Daytona is Fliss Performance, the company that builds all of the MX-5 Cup cars, and basically operates that whole series, the MX-5 Cup, with IMSA. Fliss Performance has been contracted by Mazda to maintain, service, and run their Heritage Collection, which includes the 787, the number 56, that finished, I don't know, 6th or whatever in 1991 at Le Mans, the same year that the legendary number 55 backed into a victory. Let's not cut corners here. That car is super cool, but they lucked out. All the other people fell out, and the car was just reliable enough to make it. But we love it all the same because it makes beautiful noises. It's super cool, old, 90s boxy stuff. But they're also speaking about the legendary orange and green, one of the 767Bs is also going to be there, as well as a 4-rotor RX-7 GTO and the RX-792P that people see all over the place when Mazda does vintage displays. So there's going to be a lot of 4-rotor noises at the Classic 24-hour, which I'm really excited about because I've never heard a 4-rotor in person, and I'm looking forward to hearing several of them at the same time when the prototypes go out there, as well as the GT cars. So that's pretty cool, and instead of it being in California, it's basically right in my backyard. So I don't know, maybe if I reach out and can get 10,000 subscribers, so I have a little more clout, maybe they'll let me do a tour of the Heritage Collection up close and personal, since I'm so close to it now. I don't have to go to California to see all this stuff. So that'll be really cool to see. Again, I'll be at the HSR Classic 24-hour in Daytona. I think it's Classic or Historic 24 hours, whatever it is. It's vintage racing in a couple weeks, so look it up on the HSR website or Classic Mazda on Facebook. I'll be out there. You can come bother me, tell me my videos suck, or shake my hand and take a look at the BG, which will be here, and at some point be out on the track doing parade laps and making at least mild spoolie boy noises. Eventually I want to do a track day there proper at Daytona, although I feel like this car will run out of gearing quickly at Daytona, having the power to actually go quickly there. And I've found out this car is gear limited to 135 miles an hour because it's the stock gearing that came in the car. We just added a lot. We more than doubled the horsepower. So when it was stock and it made 125 horsepower, they needed short gearing so it wouldn't be a dog. But now it has it's really short gearing. So eventually I want to re-gear the car, but that'll be a whole thing and eventually, if I can't solve my slight oil burning problem, I think it's the valve stem seals. The car burns a little bit of oil. It burns a lot of oil, but every once in a while I'll just get a big bleh, black cloud, black and blue cloud out the back of the car. So if I ever have to have the engine out to freshen it, because it is an original Familia GTR engine from 1991 2, it's a 30-something year old engine. It's as old as the car, it just what isn't original to the car. So some stuff is bound to be aged in it a little bit. I'm honestly surprised the turbocharger hasn't gone bad on it. It's the original turbo, never been rebuilt. Eventually I do want to, I guess I'm slowly transitioning into my, well, that's not true, Ray. Ray in the comments, who, for those who can't see, it has been cracked open, in fact. When this car was built 20 years ago, they did take the cylinder head off, and they did a little bit of a valve job on it, and they apparently refreshed all the valve stem seals and all that crap, but I don't know if that's not true, or they just got brittle from the car sitting for so long, because my dad barely ever used it. So I'm using every additive under the sun that my research has shown is good for oil consumption and things like bad, crusty valve stem seals. But if that cylinder head ever has to come off again, which it will eventually, I just don't want to do that, I'll pull the whole assembly and I'm going to re-gear the gearbox. I think if you put a... oh my god! Thank you for the $20 donation. That is killer. And that will definitely go toward the BG. Every extra penny I've got is going toward that car. Now, lately, I'm a little bit obsessed, and 20 bucks is a big old chunk, so thank you for that. Where was I? Where was I? Oh, if that cylinder head ever has to come off, the whole thing's coming apart, and I'll re-gear it with a 626 fifth gear from a Mazda 626. They have a much longer fifth gear. I think I could gear it to 150 miles an hour. Then I think the juice would be worth the squeeze. 135 miles an hour, as sketchy as this car is, that's still pulling in top gear. Top of fifth, 7,000 RPM, and I'm still pinned in my seat. So I think just a little bit more final drive is all it needs. Or I'll save a little bit money, I'll go crazy, and I'll get some dog gears for it, and I won't have to lift when I shift, which would be really cool. Although a par dog box gear set for this car is $6,500. Although that might be 6,500 Australian. I need to look at the conversions once again, because par gear sets are, or it might be PAR, I don't know. They are made in Australia, as a lot of the things for this car are, because they're still popular there. There's like 5 people with, 2 nickels between all of us who still like these cars. So, as my recent videos have shown, I've gone on a bit of a buying spree, just because I can. I'm at a point in my life where my historical preservation of this silly car that no one cares about until they do is just pressing on ever horribly forward. Speaking of being on a bit of a buying spree, we already saw the GTR front bumper on the channel. If you hadn't, it's a couple videos back. And eventually when all this processes and stuff and I can put links and stuff, maybe I'll throw that in there. But also, we're all adults and we can find 2 videos back on this very channel. On top of having that Familia GTR bumper, and these were already ordered when I found the bumper. I actually have a 3-hole front bumper from it's a reproduction, the 3-hole bumper. Those came on Familia GTX models, and it's a little bit different. If you want to look up Familia 3-hole front bumper, it's arguably a better face on this car, and it's the one I actually wanted. So I had it and a rear bumper, which is the shorty rear bumper where the license plate is actually in the bumper, and that will replace the rear garnish between the taillights that currently houses the license plate. So the plate will move down into the bumper, and the rear garnish will say Familia or 323, depending on, or both. I'll maybe keep them both, because that's coming in my big beautiful shipment from Australia, which I'll touch on in a second. So I have a hoard of stuff for this car. I also have an old Cork Sport bumper from way back in the day that are unpopular but also unobtainium, and there's a buyer, there's an ass for every seat. Eventually I'm gonna get rid of it's right up there. I'm pointing at my garage rack. All my bumpers are sat up there, just waiting to be freshened and ready for the car. I think I'm just going to have both front bumpers painted, both being the GTR and the GTX 3-hole. I'm going to have them both painted the same color as the rest of the car, that Viper blue, and maybe I'll alternate. I can change it depending on how I'm feeling. Yeah, that's a good callback to our group chat, right? Bumper all the things. You're not kidding. I am excited to eventually, when I can get Pops to have a little bit of extra time. He's not aware yet that I have 3 bumpers coming his way, 2 fronts and a rear, to be painted, which I'm at a point in my life where he doesn't have to do me favors. I mean, I paid him for the car. I can pay him to paint my bumpers. Of course, he'll give me a break because he's my dad. So that's one of the things I'm excited for. And I touched on it a second ago. I've been in contact with the folks in Australia who are processing my auction lots from the little known but rife with BG parts auction from, goodness, it's going on almost a month now. I knew it was going to be a long process between the stuff getting from the auction house to the shipper, because they have a whole partnership thing. So for it to get from there to there took a few weeks, and everything's now processed, boxed, and they're looking at shipping options, which ultimately I'm not going to pay for air freight. That's just crazy expensive. So it seems like we're probably just going to palletize it and put it on a ship, and it will get here when it gets here, and I have to go pick it up in Orlando, which is like an hour and a half away from here. I'll just get the information, go to the warehouse, and that's the easiest way, rather than like doing some kind of air freight deal and it coming to my door, which I'm fine to go get it. I guess to break down everything, because I didn't really talk about what was in these auction lots. I only mentioned that I bought a bunch of stuff from Australia. So the things that I have coming, just off the top of my head, I have several spoilers, sedan trunk spoilers, none of which I want. I'm going to sell all of those because it's not the style I want. There's like a flush, like duckbill kind of spoiler that is incredibly rare. It was a factory option in Europe and Japan, I think. It's FOHA, F-O-H-A. and I am perpetually on the hunt for that rear spoiler because it just looks so good on this car. I want to get to a point eventually where I can show images on this stream. I attempted to use my laptop earlier, but it wanted me to download Google Chrome because, you know, it's Google. They want you to use their services in their phones. They kind of hamstring us Apple users, which, whatever. I make do with my iPhone and iMovie for my editing, so whatever. In addition to all those spoilers coming from Australia, I have a bunch of, as I mentioned earlier, those rear taillight garnishes. One of which, by the pictures that the shipper sent me, it looks like new old stock. It is so fresh. I cannot wait to have it in my hands. And then and that is a Familia badged one. It has it right in the middle of the center garnish. I'm really excited to get that. There's another one that is it 3 or 4? I'm struggling to remember, honestly. I didn't look at the pictures. I looked at the pictures the other day, and it's just like it's all sprawled out on a table. So I'm getting three or 4 of those garnishes, 2 of which say Familia in the center, and 1 says 323. Or it's either 1 says each, and 1, because 1 is blank. 1 is like missing that decal in the middle. It's in really good shape. It just doesn't have the 323 or Familia decal, which that can be sorted. Whoever buys it from me, or I can get a sticker, whatever. So garnishes, spoilers, the biggest thing that I'm excited about is the fog light grille. Anyone, and this is again something I wish I could put up on the screen. It's a Googleable thing. Hang on, I actually have one. It's a bad example, but I have it right here. Kind of. Okay. This is a terrible example of it. You can see it here. It's terrible because it's just in really rough shape and it was poorly repaired, which I didn't know when I bought it at the time. But this is what a Familia round fog light grille looks like. Some nice yellow fog lights go in here, and I have now 2 sets of those. The problem with this grille and why I haven't refinished it and attempted to use it is because the previous owner, they must have fitted this to a Ford Laser or something, which is an Escort, but it's the same platform. The headlights are a little bit wider, and in order to fit it, you have to cut like an inch off of each end of the bumper, which is what they did. And I couldn't tell that from the pictures when I purchased it on eBay a year or so ago. So this one is missing some meat on each end. I have a spare OEM grill that I want to, one of these days when I feel sassy and want to do it, I'm going to trim the ends off that OEM grill and kind of splice it together, fix it, smooth everything out with some Bondo, get this thing painted, and either hoard it or sell it, depending on how I feel at the time. So I have another one of these coming that is in pristine condition. No meat removed. It has the fog lights, brackets, everything. It's a nice gray color. Obviously, I'm going to have it painted. But this is just a nice visual representation of one of the things that's coming. And then there's another like OEM style grill. It's just all the way across, regular old grill. It's got this Familia logo in it, the nice, really cool red logo that they put on those cars overseas. Like, these cars were way cooler in the rest of the world. Not that they're not cool here, but, you know. we want what they have, and they want what we've got. That's always the way cars across the world go, and in different markets. In addition to the body stuff, I also have a trio of JDM/European style BG steering wheels coming, which I'm going to also sell to whoever wants them because I don't need them. I have an aftermarket steering wheel, a nice Momo with a quick release. So those were some of the items that I didn't want, but I had to buy them because they were part of a lot. And there's other various knickknacks that are going to go right in the trash, because like there's a tail light end that's broken, right in the trash. There's a headlight that's the wrong shape, right in the trash. All kinds of little bits. There's a pod filter that I'm not going to use. And I told the guy at the shipping place, I said, you can throw that right in the bin if you want to, but I understand if it's against policy. And he didn't say anything otherwise, so I'm assuming that the pod filter is coming my way and using up valuable space in my pallet or whatever's coming to me. And speaking of using up valuable space, there are also a couple of turbochargers that were in one of the lots. One of which I believe is a IHI VJ23, which is the same as what's currently on the engine. So if I could have a spare one of those, I could buy the refresh kit. They make a modern ball bearing refresh kit with a billet compressor wheel and stuff. Like, it really modernizes this old turbo, and I won't have to change anything, and it'll last another at least 30-35 years, hopefully. Hopefully like this one has. And then I think the other one is the smaller VJ20 GTX turbo. So we'll see when those get here. There's also a couple of like rad aftermarket downpipes and turbo manifolds and stuff. That's what's making it expensive, because of the weight and just the extra dimensions. Anyone who's ever seen like a full downpipe knows how big and bulky they are. They're made of steel. The manifolds and the exhaust housings on the turbos, cast iron. So it's heavy, but it's worth it. And that's basically the extent of all the stuff that is coming in that big shipment from Down Under. And I'm really excited. Who knows when it's going to get here? It hopefully will get here before the end of the year. I don't know how long. I mean, I imagine once it's on a ship from South Australia, which is where the stuff is, a couple weeks at least, maybe a month. So maybe I'll have a cool Christmas unboxing, a holiday unboxing of my rare protege parts from overseas. For anyone who just popped in, hello, first of all. I'm just talking about my shipment of stuff for the protege, what I'm going to sell, what I'm going to keep, just basically what I'm getting, because I've only teased it so far, so that's where we're at. It's only a couple of us, and we're just hanging out. I'm having a beer. I already talked about reaching 9,000 subscribers, which was really cool, and being at the Classic 24 Hours in Daytona in a couple weeks. Whoever wants to come berate me there, by all means, I welcome it. And that goes for whoever is watching later as well. So, that's pretty much all of the happenings personally in my life, I guess, that I wanted to talk about. That is car related, specifically my car related. I do want to do a little bit of open discussion, and if you've got any questions, any 5 of you have any questions, ask me anything, by all means. One thing I wanted to discuss is the potential for the NE generation Miata being revealed pretty soon. I saw a teaser, as did the rest of the world. I'm not special. There was a teaser going around that Mazda is going to be showing a Miata adjacent or Miata related concept. And Ray, if you're still here, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I put it in our chat. Has anyone currently watching seen anything about this new Miata concept that's coming here soon? I would love to get your guys' opinion on it. I think fully that the ND generation has really reached the end of its life cycle and its ultimate final iteration. I mean, other than turbocharging it, which it doesn't really need. I drove an ND1 back when they only made 155 horsepower, and they had the glass gearboxes, and they were just dynamically new. And that car was phenomenal, and it was fast enough. I can only imagine what an ND2, and even now the ND3, that was just revealed, can be with nearly 190 horsepower and all the suspension development. The ND3 now has a track mode for its stability programming, a new limited slip diff, and things like that. When you start, iterating on little things and not making wholesale changes like say turbocharging the engine. They already did one big major engine refresh, which I haven't had an opportunity to drive an ND2, but apparently it takes everything that was good about the first generation of ND and just ramps it up. I do wish that through the 3 generations they would have done a little bit more of a facelift than they have, which they haven't. They haven't facelifted anything. The ND3 has slightly different headlights and taillights, but it's almost indiscernible to the average layman's eye. So like in previous generations, I guess not so much with the NA. The NA had 2 iterations and looked the same from 1989 to 1997. But like the NB, for example, the NC had 3 distinct generations. But in my opinion, I think the ND has run its course, and the next couple of years, most cars, especially Miatas, have a 10-year life cycle. So we're getting pretty close to that and reaching the ultimate iteration of the ND. So the NE, there's talk that it could be hybridized, electrified in some way, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as long as it doesn't become a much larger car. And the ND is the lightest car on the road, practically, that you can buy at 2,300 pounds in 2023 going into 2024. A car that is that much of a flyweight is amazing. The fact that they can still do it and pass all the safety regulations and all that is just amazing to me. So I guess that's ultimately my hope, is that this new generation of Miata, rotary EV, Ray, I don't know, that I could see if it were like actually making the RX Vision a real thing and making it a slightly bigger GT car coupe kind of thing based on Miata architecture. I could see that, but I mean, then it wouldn't be a Miata. It would be an RE or RX something. It's not going to be the RX-7. That kills me every time I see people like, oh, bring back the RX-7. That's not how numbers work. Like, let the RX-7 be in the past. There can be a new thing. I mean, if they were to make a rotary sports car, it would have to be the last thing that they ever make with that engine, and they would have to give it some kind of cool name, like RXE or something. Like, I don't know, and E doesn't necessarily have to be electric or whatever. It could be RX Evolution or something. I mean, they they have it. I mean, they have had it, but as far as electrified, they've got that in the can, ready to go. I don't know. RXE could be a thing, and they could style it. You know, if you look deep enough in the RX Vision concept, there's a little bit of RX3 in that nose. From the firewall back, it kind of looks like an FD, and it has, of course, modern design language taillights. But if you look at the nose of that, it does have the flying M kind of, or the Mazda styling, that silver bar that goes across it. It does have that, but with the grille and the headlight placement, there's a little bit of RX3 DNA in there. And if they were to, throw back to all the rotary generations in a last hurrah sports car, something like RXE would make sense. But I'm also not, I don't have a marketing degree, so I don't know what would work with the, but I do know, having recently been a current model Mazda owner, I know the way their surveys work, and boy, is it not good. The average car buyer doesn't get it. Because those questions, and I've seen the videos they put out about focus groups and stuff, it's not good. It's not good at all. But, again, what do I know? I think if they do it, they'll do it right. At least as right as they can, given the way the world is nowadays. But either way, any Miata or some kind of rotary sports car, it's exciting to see something new coming from the brand that is a sports car. As much as I like the CX-90 for what it is, it's interesting. I don't want to buy one. I'd love to have it go in one. And I really hope that turbocharged straight six finds its way into a smaller vehicle. Hopefully the next generation Mazda 6. Based on that rear-wheel drive platform, they could really take it to BMW and Mercedes with that combination. But, I mean, if you look, it only makes sense. If you look at a CX-90, Mazda made a BMW X7. It's got the same side profile. It's got the same bulbous ass as an X7, and it's the size of a cruise ship with a straight six, which it's right there. That inline does need to go. That I just I want to hear what it sounds like, too. I mean, I imagine it makes straight six noises, which are pretty good. But I've not been near to one, and I would like to be in some way, shape, or form. You know what Mazda really needs to bring back? And I know they never will because this isn't their brand image anymore. The Mazda Rev It Up campaign. In the mid-2000s, about 2005, 2006, Mazda had this national touring, vehicle test drive thing, but it wasn't just a test drive. They had a bunch of sixes and Miatas and Mazda 3s and stuff. Basically, all their cars. They put them in big rigs, they took them all around the country, and they set up an autocross course, and you could go out there and just go as quickly as you wanted in brand new Mazda vehicles, like a Mazda 6 V6 with a stick, that 3-liter V6, the Mazda Speed Protege at the time, because they did it for a few years. They did it in like 2002 to like 2005 or 6. It was really cool, and my dad and I, we went to one once in this car. The memories are coming rushing back to me. We went down to Gulfstream Park in South Florida, it's a horse track or greyhound track or something, but they had a big paved parking lot. It's not there now. They've since redone everything, and it's a casino and racetrack that looks like a Roman Colosseum or the Greek Parthenon. They really changed it, but they paved right over that parking lot. But we went down there in this car and did the Rev It Up, and I rode right seat with my dad. And I don't think we got a Mazda Speed Protege. We got a Protege MP3 at the time, which was still cool. I still can't believe that Mazda at the time went around the country setting up autocrosses, and you just signed a waiver and they said, have fun, kill as many cones as you want. It was so cool. I've got to hop on here after I'm done and see if there are any old promo videos for it or anything like that. I haven't thought about the Mazda Rev It Up program in so long, so I'm I'm glad I went on this tangent with you all tonight so we could talk about that. We're getting to 45 minutes. I'd like this to go to an hour. I try to make these things go an hour. I thought I would talk a little longer about the classic 24-hour, my Protege parts, and the open discussion at least about the NE Miata, which led to all kinds of other Mazda discussion and nostalgia. Does anybody have anything that they would like to talk about, anything they would like to know? The floor is open. I'll give you guys a second while I have a sip of this nice, delicious, ice-cold Walking Tree beer. Oh my god, Ray. $20 from you two, you're an animal. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Fun story. So, for those who, if you can see the comments, but if you can't, fun story. Mazda Rev It Up outfitted the Mazda 6s with exhaust from Bosal. At the end of the campaign, I managed to get in contact, and several folks sourced the exhaust which they were going to trash. That's crazy. I wonder what happened to the cars. Because I imagine they were just, like, were they press cars? Were they just write-offs? Did they get crushed at the end? And also, it blows my mind that that they demodded. It blows me away that they modified these cars, but I also can't believe that they would demod them unless they were going to sell them to the general public or crush them or whatever. I would love to know what happened to all those old cars. Jarrett, I'm with you about the NE. It's not going to be fully electric. NE is just I know it ties in with electrification because of the E and stuff, but it's just, I mean, it's just the next letter in the alphabet, of course. But I definitely I don't know. I don't know anything about it. We can only speculate. But I'm hoping it's cool, and knowing Mazda, it'll be pretty cool. Not sure. The original deal was that... Okay. Well, good point, Ray. That the Mazda Speed exhaust, that they I guess that deal fell through, and Racing Beat came to the rescue. That's another thing that blows me away about before, like the early mid-2000s, before Mazda went for the premium image that they're going for now, back when they were the Zoom brand, It blows me away that you could go to a Mazda dealer and they would just have a wall of Racing Beat parts on the wall in some cases. And like you could get Racing Beat shit on your car with a warranty. And like gone are the days. I mean, like TRD and stuff still does that, but do we think there will be any surprises from Mazda at the Japanese mobility show? So, I'm aware of the Japan mobility show, I should say. I'm aware of it. I've just not researched it at length. As I understand it, that's for like emerging mobility technologies. As far as I mean, honestly, I can try and muddle through that. I don't know enough about it to comment. I do know that Mazda is working on a fully autonomous system, like a level 3 autonomous system, or maybe it's level 4. I don't know. If you fall asleep at the wheel or you have a heart attack or something, the car will pull over and call emergency services, and you can I guess that's level 3 or something. I don't know if it's like completely autonomous like that new Mercedes system. I know Mazda has that. As far as their other mobility initiatives, I am so out of the loop that I couldn't begin to comment. Do you have anything to add there, Jarrett? Excuse me. I should not. I do this every time. I drink a beer on these things and then I burp several times, and it's embarrassing because it brings the show to a complete stop. Or maybe it doesn't and I'm overthinking it. But it's just so good. Anyone else? We got about 10 more minutes. We can talk about whatever, and then I'll close it out for this one. We've had a lot of good chat on this one. I appreciate the handful of real ones here hanging out and just having a chat. Sending over a few bucks, like, you guys are, like, thank you for that. It's really humbling, and I'm just super grateful from the sport. I've got good friends in this community. I agree. I hope that there is a Mazda 6 rear-wheel drive platform concept of some kind in the pipeline, if not a production car. Hopefully there's a production car. I don't know if the crossover and full-size SUV trend is cooling at all. I don't think it is, judging by the product lines. And it's ever tenuous, like what they're selling as like SUVs, and I'm guilty of it too. I bought a Mazda CX-30, which is a Mazda 3 with a 1-inch lift, and I put all-terrains on it, and then I would go to the store and I would park next to literally anything else, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Who am I fooling? It's just a car. It's a tall car. And now I have a full-size pickup truck, which I'm still getting used to parking because it's a long bed. But I love it all the same. But like the CX-30 is a good example. Like the Chevrolet Trax, they market that as a crossover SUV thing. And when you put it next to other cars, it's like a couple inches taller than like a regular sedan. So it may be that the manufacturers are weaning the general public off of the SUV craze little by little, just like making them more car-like slowly but surely. But it also, like, the manufacturers make whatever the market dictates, and whether people actually want SUVs or they just want the idea of an SUV, which in a lot of cases, people just want the idea of an SUV. Again, I'm kind of guilty of it. Ultimately, the reason why I got rid of that CX-30 is because I can't have nice things. And that's not like saying, oh, I can't have nice things. Like, I was being so precious with that like it was insufferable. It was making me sick how precious I was being with that thing, and like it wasn't fun. It's not fun owning something nice. Like, I'm not, anyone who's watched my videos long enough knows that I'm not one to spend a whole day waxing and polishing. I would rather be driving. And like if you could see the Protege right now, it's covered in handprints and watermarks, water spots, I should say. It's absolutely filthy. And you know what? That means the car gets to live. And I would rather a car live than be shiny. Any time of any time of day, any time of week. Like I see anytime there's a headline about like the Goodwood Festival of Speed or the Goodwood Revival, oh, some priceless thing crashed. I would rather the priceless thing be crashed in anger than sit in a museum forever. Because I would much rather something live and perish than to have not lived at all. It's a big philosophical thing. Welcome to the mostly philosophical vidcast. I'm your host. But no, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. Yeah, I don't wax. I don't polish. I wash and I dry with a bath towel. So hate me if you want, but ultimately it doesn't matter because now I don't have to worry about it. Anytime I get a little dent now, like the Protege's got dents. They're not in horrible places. There's one that kind of bugs me, but that's because it was my own fault. Something fell off of the rack and it was soft. It didn't destroy the hood, but there is a little bitty dent right on one of the styling seams in the metal, and I'm looking at it right now and it just catches my eye every once in a while and it bugs me because I did it to myself. It's funny. I find, and I'm out of habit, I still like, even in my truck sometimes, and my truck is like dented to hell because it's a truck and they're meant to be used. But I'm trying to get better about like not suffering, especially when I have passengers, going to the back of a parking lot to get an end space when there's a perfectly good middle spot right up by the front of the store. And yes, there's also an argument for getting your steps and not being a lazeabout and things like that, but I do it so people don't ding my doors. But where I was going with that, I find that in my entire car-owning career, I have done the most damage to my own vehicles. I don't think I have ever found a door ding that wasn't from me being careless. It was never caused by anyone else. And I'm starting to think more and more that the fear of door dings is one of the biggest, like, psyops that the car hobby has ever instilled in people at large. That your doors are going to get dinged sooner than later. The plot twist, though, is that you don't know that you're going to do it to yourself. You see all these cars going down the road, usually Altimas, and you can't believe just how fucked up they are. And someone else didn't do that to them. That person did it to them, including every single door ding, the hundreds of them down each side of the car. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to be better about, is just not fearing door dings as much. There are obvious situations, of course, where you're just like, nope, I'm not squeezing in there. Bad things are going to happen. But for the most part, it's usually been me. 5 more minutes. Now's your chance to ask me the hard-hitting questions. The floor is open to you, my 7 viewers and 1 liker. I dare you to ask me something critical. Or don't, and I'll call it 5 minutes early. But I don't want to. Panels can be repaired. Usually it's lights. Yes. Yes. And that's a good point, Hillagood in the comments. You're new. You're new. I don't know if we've talked before. If you're a first time, long time, glad to be talking about it. But that is a good point. Lights are critical, especially with these old cars. As we've seen in the videos, I have a brand new set of European spec glass headlights in this car, which are gorgeous. And if anyone ever hits me or I hit something, I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive myself, because they're not hard to get, but you do still have to buy them from Europe, and eventually this stuff isn't going to exist, and that's part of why I'm just hoovering it up, because I'm at a point financially where I can do it, and I just like, and I don't know if there's an underlying hoarder in my personality, or if I'm just enthused by preserving the history of a car that I love. But there is that little tingle in the back of my mind that says, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't. But also nothing matters, and there are solutions for everything, which, you know, we don't know until we know, and we can't act until we need to. You can't prevent everything. I'm happy you started to make videos again, especially that are Mazda focused. Thank you, Jarrett. Yeah, I mean, there will always be a Mazda in my fleet. And it's going to be this blue car. I will live in this car, roll bar and all, and I will lose everything before I sell it. And I've said that before, but those cars weren't this. There was a time when I thought I was never going to sell my Mazda 2. But eventually I got, you know, I reached the end of what I felt like doing, realistically, with that car. That would have been a rabbit hole that just isn't worth it. This car's at least fast, or at least, you know, at least relatively quick. So it's yes, thank you, Jarrett. I am happy to be making videos again too. There's actually one in the can on the phone right now. I completely forgot to mention this earlier when I was talking about mods to the Protege, current and incoming. I just installed a new intercooler on this car. And I'm not going to give it all away, of course, because there is a whole video coming, so look forward to that. I do a little bit of hypothesizing, a little bit of not pseudoscience. I guess I hypothesized and goofed off, because I didn't write anything down, and the key to the difference between science and goofing off is writing it down, although I did document it on video. So either way, you heard it here first. New video coming. I installed a new front mount intercooler on the Protege, coming soon to a YouTube near you. I will say I didn't get the desired effect. Well, I didn't get one of the desired effects. The front bumper fits a lot better now. The grille fits a lot better now that I don't have that giant Supra intercooler in there. So I'll leave it at that. You'll have to watch the video to see how it came out, and that'll be coming out here in the next week or so. And then I've got other kinds of knickknacks coming, just maintenance items and things like that. There's a lot of things that I do want to buy that would make good video content, but we're getting into the expensive stuff, and I'm taking a wee break, just to calm a little bit, because I have a backlog of stuff that I want to do. Oh, I will close with one other little upcoming video. You haven't seen this on the channel yet, but I recently purchased a welder. Ray's seen it in the group chat. I sunburned myself with it because in my hubristic nature, I got excited to play with my new toy and forgot that I was messing with ultraviolet light, and I got sunburned on both legs, which are actively peeling as we speak. But point being, I own a MIG welder, and I've been getting a little bit of practice in, and I'm finally going to get rid of the hideous, although effective, Corksport Axleback exhaust on this car. There's just like a big old can at the back of the car, and it's hanging down, and it looks like garbage from the side, so I'm going to cook myself up a new Axleback section. I could just wing that muffler off, and like do a piece of straight pipe and a turn down, but I'm also not going to hack apart an original period Corksport exhaust, because that would be wrong, and it goes against my mantra of the historical preservation for this car. So lots of little projects, a couple big projects in the pipeline for the Protege. Once again, for the people who just joined a few minutes ago, I'm going to close in saying November 4th, check on that. I'm fairly certain it's November 4th, Daytona International Speedway. I'm going to be at the HSR Classic 24 Hours. There is a Mazda Corral. I will be there with the Protege. So get at me at Daytona if you want, if you're local or you're traveling to see it. I will be there, possibly making content, but I will ultimately be there hanging out with other Mazda people, doing some parade laps and things like that. Once again, thank you for 9,000 subscribers. If you're watching this later and you've made it to the 62-minute mark, 9,000 subscribers and counting, and nearly 2 million views. Big success for my little channel, I would say. But I think we've done a good hour of radio on video. I had a great time with a handful of friends here having a talk on this Friday the 13th. How did I not mention before this point that it's Friday the 13th, and I figured I would hop on here and get weird for an hour with you guys. But anyway, that's it for this iteration of the Mostly Mazda Vidcast. I've been your host, the one and only Lonely Josh. Thank you all so much for watching, participating, subscribing, sharing, supporting, and being the best YouTube subscribers and fans and friends in the whole world that someone could ask for. I'm going long-winded, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye. Now, I'm going to take a few awkward seconds to stop the stream. Yes, I am sure I want to stop streaming. Bye, everybody.